It was October 3rd, 1984, when 9-year-old Christine Jessop went missing from her home in Queensville, Ontario, just north of Toronto and York Region. She was described as a girl who loved life, her family, school, and sports. Her face, as seen here today, was on every television set and every newspaper. Hundreds of community members assisted in searching for Christine. Tragically, on December 31st, 1984, Christine was found in Sunderland, Ontario, in Durham Region. She had been stabbed to death, and evidence that she had been sexually assaulted was located at the crime scene. The investigation, as we know, resulted in the arrest of Guy Paul Morin. He was acquitted at his first trial, found guilty of first-degree murder at his second trial, before a successful Crown appeal ultimately led to his acquittal in 1995 on fresh evidence that was submitted jointly by both the Crown and the defense. At that time, the fresh evidence was DNA that conclusively established Guy Paul Morin was not the donor of semen stains found on Christine Jessop's underwear. I am not here today to revisit that historical investigation. We are fortunate to have had the very thorough public inquiry and resulting recommendations from Justice Kaufman. I am here because of the diligent work of Toronto police investigators. On Friday, October 9th, 2020, we positively confirmed the identification of the person responsible for the DNA sample found on Christine's underwear. Calvin Hoover of Toronto, Ontario, was 28 years old in 1984. He was known to the Jessop family at the time of Christine's disappearance. He died in 2015. However, if he were alive today, the Toronto Police Service would arrest Calvin Hoover for the murder of Christine Jessop. Today's announcement is only the first very important answer in this ongoing investigation. It has obviously generated many more questions, and we are asking for the public's help as we look for information about Calvin Hoover in an effort to create a timeline of his whereabouts and the last moments of Christine's life. Please take a look at this photo. It is a photo of Mr. Hoover that dates back to the late 1990s. Despite how dated it is our hope that it may jog someone's memory about the events surrounding Christine's disappearance. If you have any information, no matter how insignificant it may seem, please contact police. Before I take questions, I want to acknowledge the family and friends of Christine Jessop. Our investigators met with Christine's mother this morning, and they continue to be with her at this moment. We have also met with Mr. Morin this morning and have shared this news with him. I believe there is no greater acknowledgement of his exoneration than the continued efforts of the Toronto Police Service to identify the person responsible for Christine's murder. Our investigators have also spoken to Justice Fred Kaufman. Because of the significant work he led during the public inquiry, we wanted to notify him personally of this development. Given the origins of this investigation, I have spoken with the chiefs of Durham and York Regional Police Services, as this case has had a profound impact on their respective members. There is nothing I can say today that can reverse the tragic events of 36 years ago. There are no winners in this announcement, and this is not a reason to celebrate. It does, however, allow us to take a major step forward in our efforts to bring justice to Christine's family.
Where did this new information come from? Calvin Hoover, how was he identified? What lead came in? Was there a tip from the public? How did this come about?
Well, we have identified him through DNA, but I think what I'll do is I'll turn it over to Staff Superintendent Peter Coe to maybe give you some background on how his name came, or how his DNA came to light.
Chief, thank you very much. In relation to Calvin Hoover, we've utilized an investigative technique that is fairly new in policing, certainly in Canada. It's been used, this technique has been used in the United States for the last couple of years, and just very recently within Toronto Police Service and other police services throughout our country. And it's genetic genealogy that we've actually used. Genetic genealogy is a very useful tool in murder investigations such as this one. We are not aware of any Canadian laboratories that specialize in genetic genealogy, but we are aware that there are numerous labs in the United States that are available only to accredited law enforcement agencies. Simply put, it is not a DNA match. What it is it provides a potential, and I must stress a potential, family lineage from a DNA sample. Then it is up to a police investigator to build from that potential family lineage by conducting interviews, by going through historical records, by combing through numerous documents. And in doing so, in essence, builds out a family tree. I can tell you that, and from that family tree, then persons of interest may be identified. I can tell you that our perspective in this case is that genetic genealogy is not evidence. We are utilizing it as an investigative tool, as a technique that can give us a list of potential persons of interest. In this case, through our partnership with Center of Forensic Sciences, we were able to submit a sample of the semen stain that was located on Christine Jessop's underwear to a laboratory in the United States that is, again, only available to accredited law enforcement agencies. And it was the subsequent work by the Toronto Police Service homicide cold case investigators that were able to create two potential family trees after extensive combing through detailed reports and documents. The second family tree produced Calvin Hoover.